And we are tracking breaking news out of the University of Arkansas football team.
The Razorbacks are holding a press conference right now where they will announce new offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino. We have head coach Sam Pittman, who just sat down, so we'll go to it live for you.
Will walk us through maybe the timeline of how Coach Petrino, when he first popped up on your radar, just kind of how this all unfolded over the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to interview him and I wanted to talk to him. And I think one of the things that I said in one of my criterias that I wanted was a man who loved the University of Arkansas. And it'd be hard to find someone that felt stronger towards Arkansas than Coach Petrino. And so obviously the next step is to talk to the athletic director about that. I interviewed several guys, 5 guys for the job, and Coach was very excited about coming back to Arkansas. And then once I knew his interest back in us, it was really a no-brainer at that point in time. And then it was just all about making the contract and the timeline and all those things work.
It was a little bit of a unique hire, and that required special approval and everything like that. Just I know that the chancellor said y'all did your due diligence and everything like that. I was wondering if you could provide some insight on what that process looked like, the due diligence and everything like that.
That part of it, I think that's up, with Hunter and those guys. I wanted to hire him. I know he's a good man. Hell, we all make a mistake, and I wanted to hire him. He was the best candidate. He's a wonderful person, and I was adamant I wanted to hire him, and he was adamant he wanted to come. So the university went to work on all that kind of stuff.
I was curious, Coach. I'm sure we all are on timeline when it popped in your head that maybe I'll give Bobby Petrino a call or see if that's a possibility. At what point?
To be honest with you, I got a text from his agent that he would have interest, and then that was where the timing was correct or right because of the Texas A&M and all that kind of stuff. And but I think it was probably a 10-day process, something like that, before the time I first started talking to guys until Coach was able to get here.
After the Missouri game, we talked about momentum with NIL. Big splash OC hire and stuff. Did you have it in your head then that this was a possibility, and was it kind of by design to have the NIL Arkansas edge and Petrino announced kind of the same day?
Well, I think you're always thinking of ways to get the fan base. I think you're always thinking, and obviously when you lose a lot of close games and you don't finish the season like you'd like to, I think your mind goes back to, okay, how can we continue to get the fans involved in things? So I think there's always an order of how you do things and all that, and we're probably not done yet.
I want to ask what you thought of in terms of hiring Bobby, like how much you might lean on him in situations, timeouts, things like that, because of his vast experience doing the same thing.
I think any time that you have somebody on your staff that's been a head coach and a successful head coach, you always go over situations and you go back and forth and talk about, okay, you're watching tape, okay, what will we do here? What will we do here? What do you think in this, that, and the other? I did that with Barry a lot as well, because he had SEC experience, and obviously congratulations to him. They're playing the championship game, just really happy for him. But it's not just that. It's a daily basis of having somebody in there that's been through it, and you just run things by and visit about it and then try to do what you think's the best decision for the team.
Aside from the success he's had here at Arkansas, what have you seen at some of his more recent stops that you made him kind of the desirable candidate for you?
Well, I mean, they about beat us out here at Missouri State. 4th and 1, he throws a touchdown pass on us, or 3rd and 1. I can't remember. I think it was 4th and 1. You had to ask him. I tried to put it out of my mind. But I mean, he's Bobby Petrino, man, and he's a wonderful mind. And he loves the state of Arkansas. He's a wonderful play caller, great guy. And I want to win here as bad as anybody any of y'all. And that was what I thought would be the best for us to win.
You were at the basketball game last night. You heard the student section chanting his name. You knew maybe what type of popularity he'd be walking back into here.
Well, I was hoping so. I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, you had the BMFP shirts, made, and I think Coach asked one of the guys, "What's that stand for?" If we were having trouble figuring that out. No, it was my suggestion to go over the Duke game. I want to show him off too. Now, I mean, I'm proud that he came here, and we got a lot of work to do. Yeah, we want to get over there and support the basketball team. And man, what a heck of a game they played! Congratulations to them. I text Muss, and it was a great. It's been a great few days for the state of Arkansas, in my opinion.
And Coach, of course, there's fans who maybe are concerned or who do not agree with the second chance opportunity. What's your message to them?
Well, you're gonna have people don't agree with a lot of things in life, and my message is that we're doing the best we possibly can do for the state of Arkansas and University of Arkansas. But if every decision I make or everything that I'm done, I'm worried about how it's going to be received, then I'm not being true to myself. And to me, this was the best hire for our university, our program, and our state. And so I'm going to stand very firm behind that. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry.
Sam, do you anticipate any other staff changes on your coaching staff?
Yeah, I do. I think there'll be some, but I'm not ready to talk about it. But I don't think we'll be intact totally next season.
And will Bobby have full control of the offense? I know at A&M it was kind of a mix of what Jimbo did or whatever.
I don't know that, but he's offensive coordinator, and just like KB was, just like Dan Enos was, he's got a job to do, and I don't know how I can allow him to do a job if he's not. It ain't his offense. So we hired him because he's a brilliant offensive mind, and it's his offense. That's just what it is, just like it was Kendall Browse, just like it was Dan's. I'm always going to have input on what my feelings are of things, but he's offensive coordinator, and that's what he's hired to do.
Same when it came to letting the recruits know that he was going to be your guy. Did you reach out to them? Did you have Bobby call them himself? Just how did that process go? And what's been the reception on the recruiting trail?
Well, I mean, we was trying to keep it quiet, but I was in on all these player evals and leaving and all that, and we was trying to keep it quiet. So y'all let him know, that he was coming back, which always happens, by the way. I'm not being negative there; it just happens. So I was getting a lot of calls. I didn't have to call them. I was getting a lot of calls, and there was a lot of excitement about it. But we didn't have to worry about calling the kids. They were calling us.
I know the roster is still pretty fluid at this moment, but KJ specifically, do you think does this maybe hold some weight with him? And would you like to have him come back and have the opportunity to play for Bobby?
I'd rather not really answer that out of respect for KJ and things of that nature. But KJ's given to the university, good years and set a lot of records and things of that nature. And whatever he wants to do, we'll be supportive of it.
Any more questions for Coach? Okay. Go ahead, Jay. When you pick up the phone to talk to him, I'm just curious, like, what's the emotion? Do you feel, I don't know, do you got like heat in your back of your neck, or you just calm and collected? Like, what is like your internal feeling when you're calling Bobby Petrino about the job? You get a pit in your stomach? I don't know.
I don't know. No, well.
Is it just cool? Hey, brother, what's up?
No. First time or two, I didn't FaceTime him, and after that I did, But I was trying to be honest with you. I was just trying to find the best man for the job, and in my opinion, I did. And so that's all I was trying to do.
Does this allow you also, I don't know this day and age, because it's the same with Kendall and Dan, as you said, in terms of them handling the offense, but your job has changed so much just in terms of, you're almost like a GM in a lot of ways. You obviously feel that?
Yeah, I think so. I think Arkansas Edge is, whatever the name is for everybody else. I think that's changed a lot of your head coaching responsibilities, and more than that, time, whether it's raising the money or trying to figure out, where different guys, are going to be able to set in the NIL and all that kind of stuff. I think just a lot more time, and obviously, we have guys that, come in going into the portal, and you're not going to talk them out of it, but simply because they've already been poached by somebody else and told the finances and everything else. We do not do that here. We don't. But it happens all the time, and NCAA at some point has to put some type of penalties on people that are poaching players, because it's going around the country everywhere. We're not. So that puts a lot more time into the portal. You got to go D2 portal, junior college portal, the 1AA portal, BCS portal, and then you've got to go with obviously the portal in Division I. So there's just a lot of time that happens in recruiting, and you can imagine this, Trey, that the portal opens up in December, it opens up in April. So you have two opportunities for someone to poach financially your players. And so that's why it was so important for us to get the Arkansas Edge.
Sam, I know I've heard ADs and coaches talk before, like they've always kind of got a list of coaches in mind that if a position ever came open that they might be interested in them. I'm wondering if, having faced him at Missouri State and having to scheme against him, did that ever cross your mind, like, hey, if I ever had the opportunity, I might want to have him work for me?
I'll be honest, it really didn't. I think the first time that it really did was when I got a text, from his agent. And I was assuming that if I got a text from his agent that there was some interest there, as well. And so I just picked up the phone, and I don't know if I had hair raised on the back of my neck or not, but I think I just picked up the phone and we visited, So, once I figured we could do the deal, then the closer that I thought we could get to doing it, the more excited I have about, more excitement I had about it. And the bottom line is we need to win games, and I thought that was the best possible way we could do it.
As far as exit interview goes, how far along would you say you are percentage-wise? And that's got to be like each guy got, a great meeting, a bad meeting. It's got to be very up and down for you. About emotions.
I was done I was through it. We had a recruiting meeting at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I was done about 1:55, and I'm completed. So we went Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, and got through all, however many it was, maybe 100 guys or whatever it was, a little bit more. And so we're through. And you talk about the portal and all this kind of stuff. I feel really good about where we're at on the football team. But obviously things can change simply because of the fluidity with phone calls to talking to coaches and all this kind of stuff. So we got a great university, a great situation here. Arkansas Edge is helping us tremendously. And we want to keep the guys, obviously, on the team that we want to keep. But we can't if they don't want to, but that's why the portal's open, and we'll go out and replace them.
Coach, take us back to the brief conversation y'all had right after that game out here. And if there's ever been conversations like at conventions with you and Coach Petrino, and if there's any relationship that kind of goes back through the years.
I'll be honest with you, there's a hell of a lot of respect from me for him. And the communication, I don't know, Coach may remember something different, but I think the first time I really spoke to him was when Missouri State was out here. And at that time, I told him that I was grateful for him and thankful for him because we had used everything that he had done here in recruiting, and it was helping us. And I told him that I appreciate him for that. And I can't recall what was said after the game, to be honest with you, but I believe, unless he remembers a different time, I believe that was really the time we had spoke.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys.
All right, that was head coach Sam Pittman talking about Bobby Petrino being hired as the new OC. We're going to have more, but as you can see, Bobby Petrino now walking to the stage.
Yeah, we'll take it live and see what he has to say. I'm sure he'll be taking some questions from many of the reporters there. Should get interesting. We'll go to it live now.
Oh, really? Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Welcome back. I was curious about the phone call from Coach Pittman, how that went with you, and your agent reached out first. Is that still Russ Campbell? I know that was 12 years ago.
No, actually, my agent is Christina Phillips, and she didn't tell me about that. I just learned that today. So, but I appreciate her. You know, she reached out to me when I was at Missouri State, and she said, "Hey, let's get you back in the game." And I said, "Christine, I think I'm just happy doing what I am right now." And she was on me about, "No, you can't do that. We'll work at it. It might take us a while, but we'll keep going." And she convinced me, "Okay, let's work at it and see if we can get back in the game." And it's been a process, but it's a lot of credit to her.
Listen to you on the podcast this morning that you did. You've been going through, looking at players, looking at film and stuff. You seen anything that's jumped out specifically, any players or anything like that?
Yeah, I haven't been able to get into it enough, you know, just because also looking at recruits and anticipating portals, and but I've been able to watch some of the individual players, and then I've had guys come in and talk to me, and the names start going, "Who's that now? Who is that again? Who is that again?" So, but it's a process. And did have a good meeting yesterday with the offensive group as a whole, and that was fun. I enjoyed it.
Now that you're back in the game, any trepidation coming back here, and just what do you want to do? What do you want to get done here the next few years of your life?
Yeah, I want to win. You know, I want to see us. I came back here to support Coach Pittman in winning. You know, I appreciate him a lot. When he did send that message that this is Coach Pittman, I'd like to talk to you. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I was like, that's going to happen, really? And then we talked for a short amount of time, and he said that he had an interest, and we set a time to talk where we both had time later on, and that was exciting. You know, I felt. Hey, maybe this is really going to happen. Could it possibly happen? You know, I talked to my family and saw if that could possibly work. And then we had a great talk, great conversation. I think it was over an hour maybe longer than that. And then when I got off the phone, I said, "Man, he didn't offer me the job." You know, I was a little bit, you know, surprised about that. I thought, man, maybe I need to do a better job interviewing again. So. But it was a process he was going through and taking his time, and I was just anxious to talk to him again.
So your offense at A&M last year, how much of it was you? And then you got to see Arkansas in Arlington what'd you think of what was going on and the personnel Arkansas has?
Yeah, that's a loaded question there. But that when I took the job at A&M, Jimbo wanted to keep the same terminology and call things the same way they did. It was hard. It was hard on me. I was staying up all night. I can remember the first scrimmage. I was up at 2 a.m. in the morning, woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning to get ready to call plays for the first scrimmage, just understanding what the terminology was, what the formation was. And it was it was not only calling the plays different, but the formations, the way they called the formation is probably different than anybody else that I've ever been around. Normally you call the strength where your tight end's going to align, and there it's where your slot receiver is going to align. So just getting the connection to be able to do that was very difficult, but I worked hard at it, and I thought we had a pretty good year. We went through a couple quarterbacks, which was hard, but I really enjoyed it. I think that's the one thing that when that happened, when Jimbo lost his job, but I thought I want to still coach, just because how much I enjoyed being in the classroom with the quarterbacks, spending time with the offense, just coaching football, teaching. It was fun being back in the meeting room and teaching. I started getting in this profession as a teacher, so it was really fun to get back and do that.
Reading some of the quotes that have come out since you accepted the job, you've talked about always wanting to come back and this being a dream. I'm just curious, was there ever a time since you left where maybe there was some anger towards this place, and when did that anger maybe turn into a desire to return?
No, there never was any anger at all. I was always a Hogs fan. I watched. People would ask me, are you going to watch the game? Are you going to watch them play? And I watched as many games as I could. I cheered for them. I rooted for them. Love the players.
Coach, I know you returned to the Little Rock Touchdown Club a few years back, and it was well received and everything. But could you have ever imagined at that time? You said you always loved the Hogs. Could you have imagined getting this opportunity to come back and coach like this? Well,
like I said, I thought about it and dreamed about it, and I didn't know if it would ever happen. So certainly, I can't tell you how excited I am to be back here. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I truly do love Arkansas, the university and the state and the people. I think it's the most special place I've ever been.
And you mentioned getting to kind of see some of the individual players that Arkansas has on the roster. I know it's still a fluid situation, but given your history, I was wondering about if you had any particular thoughts on the quarterbacks that Arkansas has here, Jacoby Criswell, Malachi Singleton, if you've had a chance to look at them and see what you thought about them.
Yeah, I've had a chance to watch their video and see, some of their practice video, some of their game video, and see things that they can do. And obviously, you like the talent that you see there, arm strength and mobility and different things they can do. You really don't know a lot until you get out on the practice field and start practicing with them. So we'll look forward to that. And the rules are of such now where we have time to meet with them when we come back from Christmas and get in the classroom with them. So it'll be fun to see how much they understand about the game of football.
Bobby, last night 20,000 people yelling your name. I mean, how does that make you feel?
It was exciting. Yeah, I felt good about it. And again, I got to say it's a credit to Sam, to be able to bring me there and allow that to go on. I think it's just a credit to him. You can see the confidence that he has in himself as a man, and how much he loves the university and wants to do what he believes is best for us to go forward to win. Is a real credit to him.
Been over 10 years. How are you different now than you were in 2011?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, that, and you're different than you were back then. So hopefully I've grown as a coach, as a teacher, as a husband, as a father. I believe totally that I have. But hopefully I'm better tomorrow than I am today.
Bobby, I remember going to the groundbreaking for the Smith Center. I think it was maybe a Friday before a home game, but you never got to get in that building. I assume you've been in there now. Just kind of, what's your thoughts on that building and finally getting to work in there?
Yeah, it was fun to walk through it and see it. And yesterday I took my own tour, I guess. Rounded up one of the young guys and said, "Hey, take me through the building here and show me it around." So it was exciting to see it. They certainly did a good job with it, and it'd be fun to start working in there.
And have you decided if you're going to be on the field or in the press box?
I haven't even thought about it. You guys are way ahead of me.
Coach, you talked about having to learn new terminology. Is Sam going to turn you loose on you call
Yeah,
it
what we
you
talked
want?
about was be able to come in and run the offense and put the offense in and do that. And one of the things I've learned throughout my career is that you utilize everybody and you try to get everybody's input. And certainly I want to see the assistant coaches have their input. And when I interviewed with Coach, we talked about certain things. If he walked in the room and asked me about this, asked me about that, what do I think about that? And I'd say, well, I'd welcome it. There's a reason he's known as the best offensive line coach in America. And if he has certain thoughts that he wants to do on short yardage and goal line, I communicated to him that when I was calling plays at Arizona State, Bruce Snyder ran short yardage and goal line. That's what he wanted to do. That was something he was very, very proud of and very, very fond of. And it's if Coach wants us to do something on short yardage and goal line or third down, we're definitely gonna work on doing it. And I think that's how it has to work. That's how it goes. He's the head coach, and we're gonna do as much as we can to keep him satisfied and happy. And that as an assistant, what you try to do is keep the head coach happy, and not chewing you out. So that's one of my goals. Let's make sure he's not chewing me out every day.
This is not football. So tell me about Northwest Arkansas. You look forward to hitting some balls in the bushes at Blessings or Beaver Lake. What goes through your mind that I'm back in Arkansas?
I got a lot to learn, man. I can't even find my way around. It's changed. It's really changed. The roads are a little bit different. The way you get places are a little bit different. I drove up in front of this building right here, and I'm like, wow, they redid that too. So first thing I got to do is find out where I'm at. Definitely like going to the lake. That's something that we've always enjoyed as a family and love to do, and it's on my bucket list to be able to slalom when I'm 70. So I've got to keep working on that, make sure I'm in good enough shape to be able to. I don't get up anymore on one, to be honest with you. I get up on two and drop, just because it's so hard to grind to get up on one. And nobody skis anymore. My kids have totally went away from me, and they don't ski. They surf and wakeboard, and I don't even see the fun in that. You go so darn slow. I don't know how it's fun, but I'm still gonna water ski. I've lost a lot of balls at Blessings, so maybe if I get to play that sometime, I'll find a few of them that I left out there.
I have to drop a ski too, man. So,
well, I don't have to. I choose to.
oh, okay.
I'm kidding.
I can't get up on one. Your signaling. I wonder what you thought of the signaling, sign stealing flap this year, and how that apply to you, maybe, or how what's the future of signaling as well? Do you think helmet devices are?
Yeah, I think that they should have done that a long time ago. And I don't know anything about Michigan and what they did or any of that. I honestly didn't pay any attention to it. But I do know when you went and played Clemson that they were going to have your signals. They had guys on the sideline standing there with the sheet of paper with your signals on it, and that was tough. And the SEC and the ACC and have talked for years about putting the piece in the ear, and one of the issues that you always have in the NCAA is everybody has a vote. So there's a lot of schools that play football that can outvote the major conferences that don't have the money for that technology to be in their helmets. So that's why they got to do something about it. But it's become more and more relevant throughout the years that I've been in about people stealing signals and calling defenses and offenses that way.
Speaking of money, your thoughts on Arkansas Edge and how that might help you in the portal and things like that.
Yeah, I got some reading up to do on that. You know, I've been kind of in a whirlwind, so I haven't even been able to check up. I know Coach told me that he was excited about the new NIL deal that's going on, and you know, at A&M, the assistant coaches knew nothing. We weren't involved in any part of the NIL. I didn't know what anybody on the team got or didn't get, so I haven't paid enough attention to it yet. I got some work to do.
I remember that 08 LSU game where you guys threw deep in a short yardage situation, and you were like, well, this is the last time their corners are going to be cheated up on us. And you've always kind of done stuff like that, like maybe not even so much just about the plays that you're calling, just about when you call them and your feel and stuff. What has changed the most about your offense since you were here last?
I honestly don't think a lot has changed, simply because I don't think it's about plays. I don't think it's about what you do. I think it's about how you use the players that you have. You know, how you get the ball to a Jarius Wright, Joe Adams, you know, how you get the ball to Dennis Johnson, and how you work, you know, the different situations of the game. And so what I love to do is utilize players and then be really good at the situations of the game, and the players really understand, you know, what we're going to see in 3rd and short, what we're going to see in 4th and short, and what we're going to see in the red zone, or what blitzes they run from the 15-yard line in, and get everybody on the same page, and then practice the heck out of it. And then when you're on the left hash, 35-yard line, 1st and 10, you want to take a shot at the end zone, everybody knows what we've done, what coverage we expect, and then what to do if we don't get that coverage. You know, or what are you going to do on 4th and 1, left hash, you know, game on the line. We ran the ball the previous 2 times and got knocked right in the mouth, so let's give us a little play action in there and see if we can get it. So I kind of like to really work on situations and players.
We saw your messages after Ryan Mallett's passing, and I know you loved him. And I always remember also people used to say that Ryan Mallett was the perfect quarterback for your system. And then you went to Louisville and you had Lamar Jackson. And I was thinking, well, what's Lamar Jackson then? What kind of quarterback do you like? I mean, and Tyler Wilson was a different quarterback for you. What type of system, quarterback, I guess, in your system would you like to have the most?
Yeah. I mean, Ryan was pretty perfect because Ryan was as smart as you could possibly be. He understood the game. He understood his players around him. He understood when you made a call what you were thinking. He was really a guy that you could anticipate what he was going to do. You know, when you saw the coverage and the play called, he would probably go the way he did in practice. You know, Lamar was the same way. You know, Lamar was a guy that really studied the game plan, really knew what he wanted to do, what we wanted to do as a staff. Both of them could get you out of a bad play. You know, you're not always going to hit the call as a play caller, and you can be really, really aggressive when your quarterback can come out there and say, oh, yeah, this play action isn't going to work because they're blitzing 2 guys off the left side, and change the play or the protection for you. And that's what those guys allowed you to do. You could just, you know, call it up and have a lot of freedom in your thoughts of being aggressive. And then if it wasn't worth a darn, they can get you out of it and get from a bad play into a good play. And the freedom they give you as a play caller really helps.
Coach, I noticed I couldn't help. You got a little emotional when you're asked about why this is like a dream. And you said you love this state. Expand on that. Why is that? Why is that? It's obviously more than just a job, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, you know, the relationships that I was able to have and make and then even continue after I left, you know, was something that's always been special.
Obviously, you know that some people are concerned and say maybe you don't deserve a second chance with the university. What do you do? I've been told winning cures all ills, but it seems like there's more than that. What do you say to that?
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of on the I'm not really sure what words to use on it, but my beliefs are that it's okay for people to disagree, have different thoughts, have different opinions. There's no ad will to it. Nobody should have that. You know, I grew up where this is in the United States of America, and everybody can have their own thoughts, their own religion, their own feelings on everything. And you know what? That's okay. We don't have to do anything about it. There isn't going to be anything done about it. That's just how it is. And I think that's one of the greatest things about a football team is guys come from everywhere, every different walks of life, different colors, different religions, and then you come together and you love each other and you go out and compete hard together and give each other a chance to win. So I don't have any ill feelings towards anybody that disagrees, or I just wish it was that way for everybody.
Last one, John.
You know, winning is the end result. Winning is the end result of doing everything right. So the top priority is to teaching the players, teaching them not only the playbook, but how to compete, how to be tough, how to have passion. It's different now than it used to be because you have a shorter window to do it. You know, with the NIL and the transfer portal and all that, you know, you used to be able to build it for a year, 3 years, and, you know, that's what we had. We had those guys that were together, grew up as little kids, got beat up on when they were freshmen. You know, I remember Joe Adams saying, they're just not beating us, they want to kill us. You know, and 2 years later, he was like, that's what we're going to do to everybody. You know, but now you don't have that window. Now you got to do it in a shorter period of time. So it's just a different challenge that you have to attack.
Coach, so a lot of the former players that you had here at Arkansas post on social media, they're all excited and approved. Have you had any comments, text messages from former players that are here, and what have those comments and conversations been like?
Yeah, I've had a lot, so it's pretty cool. It was fun when we came here and played. You know, I got into the locker room, and all of a sudden I got out of the shower, and there's Joe Adams and Colby Hamilton standing there. I said, "How did you guys get in here?" You know, they snuck in the locker room to say hello. So it's been pretty cool.
Coach, appreciate you.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that was a news conference with the new offensive coordinator, Bobby Petrino. Head coach Sam Pittman also spoke.
Yes, tonight at 5 and 6, we're going to recap this for you. A lot of questions that were answered there.
Yeah,
lots to go over.
Maybe recap a couple of quick things. Now, he was not directly asked about his initial firing, but there were some questions that kind of hinted to it. One of them talking about believing in second chances. I believe that was asked by our Brett Raines. And Coach Petrino was very clear about not bearing any ill will towards anyone. It's okay for people to disagree. Sam Pittman even said when he was asked that people make mistakes. So most of it, however, was about him acclimating to this team.
Right.
Evaluating the
Coming
offense
back.
that's there. How is he going to get the team hopefully winning again? Because he said he came here to win. And Coach Pittman said he wants someone here who loves Arkansas and loves the football program.
Right. He said that, Coach Pittman reiterating that was one of his top choices, is to find someone who wants to come back to the university, wants to win, and has a love for the natural state, certainly.
Absolutely. And as Allison said, plenty more on this tonight at 5, 6, 9, and 10.